Welcome to the Abolitionist Sanctuary Podcast, where we discuss critical conversations and call to actions at the intersection of abolition, religion, and Black motherhood. I am your host, Reverend Dr. Nikia Smith-Robert, the founder and executive director of Abolitionist Sanctuary. We are a national coalition leading a faith-based abolitionist movement. Be sure to visit us and become a member at abolitionistsanctuary.org. Download our mobile app and join our social learning platform. Take courses and become certified in abolition as social change. And you can do this by visiting abolitionacademy.com. Check out our new documentary project, subscribe to our newsletter, follow us on social media, and donate to Abolitionist Sanctuary. Thank you to our radio and visual audiences for joining us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, and all other streaming platforms. Please share this podcast and invite others to listen and watch with you. Join me in welcoming our special guests this episode for Black August. I have with us Susan Burton, who is a leader in the criminal justice reform movement, founder of A New Way of Life, and an outspoken voice to end mass incarceration. Following the tragic accidental death of her 5-year-old son, Susan's world collapsed. Coupled with past trauma and pain, her loss snapped the final tether of resilience. She descended into darkness and despair, but living in South Los Angeles, Susan didn't have access to the resources she needed to heal. Without support, she turned to drugs and alcohol, which led to nearly 20 years of revolving in and out of prison. Drawing on her personal experiences, she founded A New Way of Life reentry project in 1998. Rededicating her life to helping other women break the cycle of incarceration. A New Way of Life provides resources such as housing, case management, employment, legal services, leadership development, and community organizing on behalf of and along with people who struggle to rebuild their lives after incarceration. Mrs. Burton has received numerous awards and honors for her work. In 2010, she was named a CNN Hero, Top 10 Hero, and received the Gleitzman Citizen Activist Award from the Center for Public Leadership at Harvard Kennedy School. She is the recipient of the Encore Purpose Prize and the James Irvine Foundation Leadership Award. On the 50th anniversary of the Selma to Montgomery marches and the signing of the Voting Rights Acts of 1965, the Los Angeles Times named Mrs. Burton one of the 18 new civil rights leaders in the nation. She is the recipient of a 2018 NAACP award after releasing her memoir, Becoming Ms. Burton, and she received this award as the outstanding literary work in the category of biography and autobiography. Becoming Mrs. Burton is also the recipient of the inaugural Goddard Riverside Stephen Russo Book Prize for Social Justice. Mrs. Burton holds an honorary Doctor of Humane Letters from California State University, Northridge. Thank you for having us, for joining us, Mrs. Burton.
I am so pleased to be here. Oh my God, that was such a long bio. You know, when I hear that, I think, you know, from whence we come and what's possible when we extend support and help to people instead of judgment.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate your witness. You are definitely not just a CNN hero, but a shero of mine and so many others. So let's hop right into our conversation. Tell us about young Susan Burton. What is your earliest memory of a time where you felt most joy and the most loved?
Oh, I'm picturing myself as about a 5-6-year-old in Lincoln Park in East LA. And it is the 4th of July, or it might have been Memorial Day. And my dad was really big on taking us to celebrate holidays. And we were out at the park and he was barbecuing. And I had put a little stick in the with a line and a hook with a worm in the lake. And I came up with goldfish or fish. I think it was a goldfish, but it was about 3 inches long, maybe 4. I think 3 though. It was tiny. And I wanted my daddy to barbecue it. He threw it back into the lake. But that's a really fond memory of my childhood. There are other memories, but I do have some where I was with my daddy who tried to keep me safe.
Yeah.
But as a black man in America, he wasn't even safe.
Yeah. 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 Tell me more about the struggles of maintaining that safety and survival as you were growing up.
So we were, I was not able to maintain safety. We were not able to maintain safety as a family. And therefore, many things happened. They happened to my mom. They happened to my siblings.
Mm.
They happened to my father. You know, he lost his work as, you know, jobs were sent overseas. My mom, you know, I can only imagine um, what she went through doing domestic work. And then that left us vulnerable and being harmed by people in our community. So the Great Migration, my mother, from the Great Migration from the South, my mother and father were a part of that.
Yeah.
And they landed in a project in East LA called Aliso Village that had been designed for them to land into. And they coming from the South really wasn't to understand the sophistication of the of the trap they had fell into.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. You know, our organization focuses on the survival strategies of poor Black mothers who do anything necessary to provide for themselves and their children against unjust systems. And what we see that society often blames Black mothers for their survival strategies, for trying to make a way out of no way. And we want to imagine a world where that's not the case, where Black mothers aren't blamed, but we instead interrogate the systems such as poverty and redlining that make survival nearly impossible in the first place. So this story of your mom resonates with me, particularly growing up to a single Black mother who had my brother at the age of 15 and watching her sometimes bend rules and break law to keep a roof over our head,
yes.
clothes on our back, and food on the table. So you mentioned about the safety of your dad. You mentioned about the survival strategies of your mom. Tell us, what is your survival story? What negotiations did you make in life to make ends meet?
Oh my goodness. I negotiated everything, Dr. Robert. I negotiated everything. I lost everything. I lost myself, but then I did find myself. I remember as a little child how um, I was being harmed and not have safety. I remember as a young woman how I allowed my body to be exploited for resources. I remember when, after my son's death, how I turned to drugs and alcohol to cope with the lifetime, not just the loss of him, but the lifetime of harm that I had endured. And, you know, like you read in my bio, that was the last. That was, you know, my mother used to talk about the straw that broke the camel's back. That broke my back, and I fell into a spiral of addiction and substance abuse and alcoholism, and spiraled in and out of the criminal justice system, just lost. And all the while, I knew that there was something more in me. I knew that there had to be more to life for me.
Yeah.
but I just didn't know how to get to it. So the community and the resources, the supports that we give in our community, the love, the compassion that we extend one another is so important in a world that will judge us and trample all over um, our hopes and our dreams, our skills, our intellect, our talent, and our gifts.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this system is stacked up against us, and we are blamed for it, for carrying our communities, our families on our back, and even our democracy. Black women are the most educated. We are providers in 80% of households. We are often the primary caregivers, and yet we are the poorest of every other ethnic group except Native Americans, right? We are often caught between this rock and the hard place. And I hear you in your survival story and the things that you had to navigate, and how it became so crushing, that you turned to substances and underground economies, right? And so, for Abolitionist Sanctuary, your survival story is a source of salvation. That you are seen in the image of the divine, no matter what those survival strategies were, because we know that this system is designed to crush us, right? But there is a God who does not want to see us destroyed, right? So we believe in the salvific value of Black women's moral agency. So thank you for sharing your survival story, and particularly the nuances of Black motherhood. So as we talk about your earlier childhood, the role of your family and Black motherhood and your survival story, how does this become the impetus for a new way of life? Why did you establish this organization?
So after recycling in and out of the prison system, October 4th of 1997, I found help in Santa Monica. And in Santa Monica, there was this elaborate buffet of services, of social services, of support, of work, of love, of compassion, of tolerance and patience. And I began to think, why was that not available in South LA?
Mm.
Um, why was I chained, stripped of my clothing, my dignity, my dreams, my just stripped of everything, and sent to work for 8 cents an hour in a prison plantation instead of given an opportunity to eat from the buffet of social services that were in Santa Monica. When they are caught with drugs in Santa Monica, they get to go to treatment. They get diverted from prison. They get to do a community service. They get a piece of paper from a judge that says, go to Alcoholics Anonymous. No one ever told me there was a solution for the problem I had acquired through substance use. And I began to understand that I wasn't a bad person. I was a harm person. And I was coping with the harm with what was available. See, we didn't have therapy in South LA. We didn't have, diversions. We didn't have, there was Alcoholics Anonymous there, but I didn't know about Alcoholics Anonymous. I didn't know that I had the disease of addiction. I didn't know there were 12 steps to help me. So when I found that out, it really angered me that there was no willingness to invest in a Black woman full of potential, but
Yeah.
also full of harm.
Mm.
And so when you discover something like I discovered in Santa Monica, I wanted to bring it to South LA.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring it back to my community. And, I thought if I just helped a handful of women, everything would change. But I worked and got a house and went to the bus station where we got off the bus.
Mhm.
And I would offer my friends that I had been in prison with a place to be,
Yeah.
a place where it was drug, alcohol free, a place that was safe. And in about 6 months, there was a house full of women helping women. And we created a community of healing and of help for one another. Um, but then I discovered that there was a much bigger problem.
Mm.
It wasn't about a couple of women, it was about a nation and a system within that nation that was hell bent on harming all of us, keeping us oppressed, suppressed,
Mm.
and existing, not thriving, not living, not honoring who we are, and not not thriving. And I said, this is a much bigger problem than I thought. But that's when I began to get a little politicized and began to look at the other isms of the world, the capitalism,
Yes.
the you
Racist.
know, the
Sex.
race, the racism, the sexism, the misogyny, the patriarchy, the
Class.
the capitalism. All of these other isms
Yeah.
that are much, much more, that have been a source of detriment to cultures, especially Black cultures
Yeah.
in this nation.
Yeah, thank you for that, for sharing your story. And what you are emphasizing is these disparities, right? That there's this double system of justice, and there's just these disparities that construct Black women as unworthy and undeserving of the resources needed to secure quality of life and survive. And whereas white people who encounter misfortune in society, maybe breaks the law, they are considered redeemable, right? That they can be treated, that they are deserving of resources, whereby Black women are just punished and a system is thrown at them, and they, really carry the weight of mass incarceration. And why these interventions are important and why you are a hero and shero to so many is you saw those disparities and you responded with action and a need. And you didn't have much. You just went with what you had to that bus station. And just one woman at a time, you were able to help. And now you have this thriving nonprofit organization where you train others to create safe homes so that they can start a new way of life. And so it's interesting, right? How Black women have limited options, right? Limited options to survive. But then when we do anything we have to do to make a way out of no way, we're punished and we're not given the resources we need to heal or to re-enter into society whole. So tell us what is life like on the inside for Black women, and what are the conditions and the harms, the perpetual harms that happen on the inside.
So, so I want to say life is undignified for all people incarcerated,
Yes.
but also inside of prisons, there is this same level of racism, classism, and sexism. So, you know, Black people are given the manual labor jobs. Um, People with shortest sentences are given the hardest work.
Mm.
Um, People with life sentences run the prison. They're the ones with the clerical jobs, with the admin jobs, with the supervisorial jobs. Um, but there's this level of daily harm that is experience. You lose all your sense of identity. You lose all your sense of self-direction. You lose all your sense of style. um, you are always in flight mode because you can't fight, because that's punishable at another level. You become quite submissive to whatever they want to do to you, because if you're not submissive, uh, you incur harm.
Yeah.
But even when you are submissive, you are still being harmed.
Mm.
You have no control over your body, it belongs to them. Same way, the body of my ancestors
Mm.
belonged to the plantation slave master.
Mm.
They strip you at a moment's notice and examine your body. They feed you food that you can't even really identify as food. I remember we go into the kitchen on Chicken Day, which is something you could identify because it was the shape of a chicken,
Mhm.
but it smelled like antibiotics.
Mm.
So it was just so horrifically dehumanizing. And when I reflect back, I'm like, you killed my son.
Mm. Mm.
This system of policing, of corrections, you killed my son. And I try to deal with his death. And the only thing that was available in my community, because it was during the war on drugs that saturated my community with this substance from out of nowhere, you know. I said, and you put, and you put this crap in my community, and I consume it,
Yeah.
and then you try to kill me with it,
Jesus.
and you try to kill my spirit, my soul.
Mm.
But like Andre say,
Mm.
but then I rose up.
Yeah.
I rose like the day, and I
Yes.
rose up unafraid.
Mm.
And I would do it 1,000 times
Mm.
over and over again, not only for me, but for every woman that crossed my path. I will rise up, I will help her rise up, and we will stand and we will reclaim our dignity, our purpose, our meaning, and our life's goals, over and over and over again. So, it's kind of like they say, um, you tried to bury us, but you didn't know we were seeds.
Yes. 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 Wow, that is powerful. I have chills. moved to tears. I don't want to tell your story. And so I'm just going to encourage people to buy this book. Mrs. Burton goes into detail about her son and state violence that stole him from us prematurely. And also her own experience with violence and overcoming. And so this story of rising like the phoenix from ashes is important. And it is important to raise up the values of resilience that comes from the survival stories of Black women, because prisons and the prison industrial complex seeks to rob us of that story and to tell the false narrative that we are deviant, that we are bad, that we are undeserving, right? Undeserving of dignity and of civil and human rights, when in fact we are worthy. We are worthy because we are born in the image of the divine. We are worthy because we are Black women, not in spite of it, right? And so I want to thank you for your transparency, and I want to thank you that you do not enter a door alone, but you bring a community with you, and with that comes our liberation. And so I want to thank you again, Mrs. Burton. And this is why the project of abolition is so important, right? Because prisons don't work. Prisons do not keep us any safer. You mentioned the harms that continue to reproduce in prisons because of these systems of racial capitalism, sexism, classism, heteronormativity, all the things that are built, that the prison systems are built on, right, continue to hurt and harm the most vulnerable. Black women are 13% of the US population, but 30% of persons on the inside. 80% of women who are incarcerated are Black mothers. Black women are among the fastest prison population. And oftentimes, Black women are not there because of violent crimes, but often for survival, crimes related to drugs or substance abuse. And because we carry this history of harm with sexual violence, right? And so, it is not a solution to imprison people who are victim to an oppressive and violent system. Instead, we need help and resources. So thank you, Mrs. Burton. I also want to know about reentry, right? You told us about the inside. What is the importance of reentry? If you could help explain the reentry process to us and how A New Way of Life is a leader in the reentry space.
Yeah, so we have a holistic reentry model, and that is why I have sought to begin to train people because, we have like a 94% success rate. And that is one of the reasons for that is that we extend love and tolerance to people.
Mm.
None of us are perfect. We all make mistakes, and folks can make mistakes in the reentry process also. But how do we walk them through that? So a woman comes to a new way of life. We welcome her in. Um, we provide family reunification services. We have a legal department for family reunification. We have a workforce development department. We have all of the food, clothing, and toiletries that's needed. But most of all, we allow people to know that it's all right for them to begin to heal, and they can do it in their time. We have no time limit spaces that says you have to leave in 30 days, 90 days, a year. You like take your time to begin to dream again, set your goals, let us know how we can support you toward those dreams. If you want to go back to school, let's get you back in school. If you want to get trained, let's get you training. Let's work. If you want to work, let us help you get to work. But it's like, what is it that you want to do? We don't tell people what they should do. I mean, we do have a curfew. You have to be in by 10 o'clock and you can be out on the weekends. We have morning meditation at 8 a.m. where we start our day. We have a cook that comes in and prepares the evening meal. Because what is it like to walk in and you have the smell of smothered chicken and greens and cornbread,
Yes, yes,
or barbecue or spaghetti, what is it like when you come in and you walk into a home? So that
yes,
home smelling of food is really important.
yes.
So we have a cook that cooks food. We now have 12 houses,
Mm.
South LA. And I was walking in today and there was a 2-month old baby. And the mother was able to come here to a new way of life and be safe while she's carrying her baby and bring the baby into the world safe
Mm.
and cared for and supported. She doesn't have to run out to work. She can have time to bond with her baby. She can have time to do what she needs to do. And everybody's fed and comfortable and warm, or in California, they're cool. Um, so we have two levels of housing here: the initial reentry homes where they come, they get their IDs, they get accosted, we begin to build trust, we begin to establish, what it is that they want to do. When they do get to work or they enroll in school, they can move to our independent homes where there's homes that are not staffed and they just live there and take care of the home. And one of the things that's really amazing is the women take care of the home so well.
Yeah.
They are grateful and appreciative to be in a place where they are safe, protected, supported, encouraged, inspired, and loved.
Yeah, thank you. That sounds amazing. I want to come over for dinner.
Okay, okay, okay.
And it sounds amazing. And society wants us to think that Black mother survival strategy somehow is destroying the family. And what you are doing is you're shifting that narrative to say, no, Black women are doing whatever they need to survive because they believe in their family
Yeah,
and have deep family values, right? And if given the resources, if given safety, if given the values of love and tolerance you've mentioned, right? That these women will thrive, that these women will take care of their homes, that they will build community, and
yeah,
that they will dream again. And
yeah,
so what I really like about a new way of life is, and it gives me chills, is that you are giving the women what you wanted, but did not get yourself. Right?
yes,
The safety that you deserved,
yeah,
but
yeah,
wasn't given. The
yeah,
resources that you needed,
yeah.
but were denied.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that, I mean, you hit the coin, you hit the nail right on the head. I think about things that I was not afforded. And I think what would have happened had I been afforded those things.
Jesus.
And so I can afford them now.
Whew.
I can afford to give them. I
Yes.
can afford to be them.
Whew.
So, yeah.
Wow. Your story resonates me with so much. I don't know what this connection is that I feel to you, but man, whew. Um, so how does your faith ground you and inspires you throughout your challenges, trials, and tribulations, but also in the ways you are providing a new way of life for other women behind you?
So, I have faith that we are important. I am an important, and you are important too.
Mm.
I have faith that all that I need to help you to understand how important you are will be given to me to extend to you. I know that I am a vessel
Yeah.
for God's work in the universe
Yeah.
and that God doesn't run out.
Mm.
All I have to do is be willing to stand
Yeah.
and stay my course.
Mm.
So I guess that's sort of an unshakable faith.
Yes.
Um, and it's not to say I don't get off course,
Yeah.
but I try to stay on course and try to stay available um, to be that vessel.
Yeah. Thank you. Staying the course, being faithful. How has the church been a conduit, a partner, a co conspirator in this work? And how has the church been absent? What can the church do better? So, both how has it helped and how does the church harm? How can it do better? What can we do?
I think that I think the church was a part of creating the problem of mass incarceration.
Yes.
I think they didn't know any better. They were hoodwinked.
Yeah.
They were into the judgment
Yes.
and the casting out and teaching our community to separate from one another and cast away from each other. But what I know is that there are no throwaway people,
Mm.
that we are all, um, I don't even want to know if I want to use the word redeemable.
Yeah.
We are all valuable. And some of us have a responsibility to help others to see past their shortcomings into their values. But I want to say that I think the church now sees themselves as historically being a part of the problem
Yeah.
and are open and thinking about how to be a part of the solution. So the teachings that you do around Abolitionist Sanctuary, every church needs to be trained in that. They need to understand, that, there's more to know and understand beside you saving my soul.
That's right.
Because, don't try to save my soul when my stomach is grinding empty, hungry, or you talking about my soul and I don't have a place to sleep.
Mm.
You know, you got to do more than that. And my soul and my spirit and my physical body will
Yes.
be nourished enough to come back to be my righteous, best self.
Yes.
But I can't get there, when I'm thirsty and you're not giving me water.
Yes.
So we have a ways to come, but the church is a, a exceptional vehicle to turn this whole thing around, as it was an exceptional vehicle to be a part of creating it. So
Yes.
there is this responsibility, you know, it's a responsibility I hold, it's a responsibility the church holds
Yeah.
to begin to understand more about this and step into a new frame of thinking, being, and doing. I met you at the church, uh, uh, Dr. Robert. I met you at a church where I was coming to the church to offer help to the folks in Altadena who had been burnt out of their homes.
Yes.
You know, I don't usually, that's not my per se mission,
Yeah.
but my mission is to be a vessel of hope and help in my community. So it's beyond just women coming out of prison. But when I saw the devastation of those Altadena fires,
Yeah.
and I saw the lack of response
Yeah.
to them black folks in Altadena,
Yes.
and I knew what they were going to experience and what they're going through. I knew it. I was like, God, what can we do? How can we help? So we were able to extend them some support. And most of all, the biggest support is like, I see you.
Yeah.
I understand. I love you. And here's, like, here's $500
Yeah.
for everyone. Here is some household goods to help you. I'll shop for you.
Yeah.
I'll deliver them to your doorsteps. And that's what we did, especially for the seniors.
Yeah.
One woman, she's 89, Miss Betty. She's still calling me. She want to come over and get some greens, get some collard greens out my backyard. I'm like, come on and get some collard greens.
I want some.
They're abundant. Come get them. I got so many collard greens.
I'm serious. They're hard to find out here. I want some.
Girl, I got them. Call me. Call me. Come get them. I'll be here all weekend. Yeah, I'll be here all weekend. I'll be here. Yeah, all week. I leave out of town next week.
Okay. Ms. Burton, thank you. The theology that you gave us that speaks of the difference between the Christianity that is religious and following Jesus, who is a revolutionary.
Yes.
Right. And this Jesus, he's a first century abolitionist.
Yes.
How we know this is because he said, I've come to set the captives free. Right.
Yes.
And as followers of this revolutionary Jesus, who was a brown Palestinian Jew and a first century abolitionist, he says that we are to clothe the naked, give food to the hungry, drink to the thirsty, heal the brokenhearted, right? And that is the mission and the work that you are doing, and that you are inviting the church to remember what it is that we are supposed to do as vessels and disciples of Jesus, this revolutionary. So thank you for also highlighting the ways in which Abolitionist Sanctuary is leading this work with our trainings that people can access at abolitionacademy.com. I also am grateful for how you shared about the Eaton Canyon wildfires. Abolitionist Sanctuary has also given mortgage assistance to Black mothers. We created a prayer resource guide where we joined 50 clergy persons from around the country that people could call. So people go to our website, access that guide, and reach a person in various religious beliefs to get the prayer and spiritual support they need, as well as we've given mutual aid fund in terms of gift cards and direct assistance. So we do want to partner with churches and with organizations like yourself in these recovery efforts. I know our time is coming to an end.
Let me just say though that the folks in Altadena, it's a long road for reconstruction for them. And we must continue to support them with prayer, with resources, with whatever we can do. I feel so just yeah.
54 families in our church lost their homes. So when I saw you come through those doors, I knew that something transformative would happen. And I'm just so grateful that you are a vessel and that you use your resources to bless others. So thank you for the ways in which you blessed our congregation at First AME Pasadena. And I'm just curious, you said, the church, what the church can do to help. I'm curious to know what you think about prison ministries, both from the perspective of being on the inside and for women on the outside. Are prison ministries welcomed? Are they effective? Is there something we could do better? Tell us about what you think about prison.
There's a wide range of different types of prison ministries, from things like prison fellowship. What I know, let me say this. What I know is that anytime we can reach in and be with people, that it's important.
Okay.
If we don't reach in and be with people, they will do anything and everything to us, and we will be abandoned.
Yeah.
And left subject to such horrific harm. So it's important. But I think it's all of these ministries, I think it's important to have them committed, and supporting and resourcing folks that need support and help. And it gives a gathering place, I believe, for people who want to do something but don't know how or what to do. So prison ministries, even if you're writing a letter to someone to know that there's someone that is thinking about them and someone they're connected to outside of that prison, getting together with lotions and panties and clothing for people. I remember wanting a decent pair of panties so bad. Those things they gave me were like diapers. They were so big and thick and bulky. And I remember just wanting a nice pair, just Fruit of the Loom panties, some cotton panties with elastic, you know what I mean? Yeah.
So that's helpful. So some of the things that churches can do with their prison ministry is to be intentional about connection, building community, bringing in resources, whether it's personal hygiene, menstrual pads,
or having hygiene for people when they get home. It's really difficult to bring it in, but also keeping people connected with their children.
Okay.
Making sure children know that their mother, there's so much we can do because that place has destroyed so much in connection. And again, love, tolerance, and patience for people.
Excellent. Love, tolerance, and patience. So I want to, is there anything else you want to share with us about what's next for you? Anything you want us to do to make this book a New York Times bestseller? Tell us how we can continue to support you and what's
what's next for me? Well, I just want to have a little fun for us all over with Reverend Roberts. But still, I have a lot to give and to offer, and I'm thinking about writing another book about the SAFE network because I created the SAFE network after my book was published, and I just continue to stay available so people can go to our website, anewwayoflife.org. They can check us out. They can see how they might want to support. December 7th this year, we're having a big gala. And October 4th through the 6th, we have a Justice on Trial film festival here in Los Angeles at Loyola Marymount University. They can come and be with us at our film festival. We explore problems with the criminal justice system through film, and we explore solutions to that problem through film. And we have authors out and speakers. So come out and share some time with us.
You heard Mrs. Burton. Visit anewwayoflife.org where you can find upcoming events and ways to support a New Way of Life organization and support a new film. Here at Abolitionist Sanctuary, we are also raising funds for a documentary to highlight stories like Mrs. Burton and other single poor Black mothers who are struggling to survive and overcome the stereotypes of criminalization and deviance. So please visit us at abolitionistsanctuary.org to learn more about that documentary project as well and how you can support it. So in closing, Mrs. Burton, we have something we call a rapid round. You did not see these words in advance. So when I mention these words, I want you to tell me what's the first thing that comes to mind. And so I'm just going to shoot them at you. And the first thing that comes to mind, you tell us what you think. John Legend.
Beautiful people. Resistance.
And who just sent you flowers.
Yeah, he sent me flowers. John is a warrior. He's an angel warrior.
Yes. Safety.
A new way of life.
Prisons.
Harm.
Black women.
Excellence.
Children.
Love.
Love.
Everybody.
Freedom.
Fight.
Abolitionist Sanctuary.
Powerful.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Burton. Thank you for joining this conversation on the Abolitionist Sanctuary Podcast. Please download and share on all platforms. Again, I am your host, Reverend Dr. Nikia Smith-Robert, founder and executive director of Abolitionist Sanctuary. Find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and download our social mobile app, bringing together abolitionists and people who love freedom. Also, enroll in our courses and become certified at abolitionacademy.com. Don't forget to become a member and join our mailing list at abolitionistsanctuary.org. As we conclude this episode, remember that abolition is not only a practice, but it is a way of life. And for me, abolition is my religion. Thank you so much.
Thank you.